is the Simpit. I'm your host, Shaun Cole. Welcome to today's edition of the Pit Stop, where you, the pit crew, you are the real star of today's show. Thank you for being here on a Hump Day Wednesday to talk about sim racing and all the cool things going on in our wonderful hobby or sport. I'm not sitting very straight today, am I? I'm going to make a little adjustment there since we're just getting started with the show. Good news is, supposedly my internet is fixed. They came out and serviced it, got a new router, new modem. Line seems to be good, so I'm crossing my fingers that we'll have no hiccups or problems and that everything will be great, especially since we have a big race coming up this weekend and a big race coming up tonight. So it's one thing to lose a stream during the news, which sucks, and it's unfortunate because it means we're not hanging out, but it's a lot worse when it impacts a race, that is for sure. So I see, speaking of a race, Lionhear Racing Series in the audience today. Thank you for being here, Lionheart. I will be seeing you guys tonight. We're going to talk about that later in the show. So, what is going on in the world of sim racing? And again, let's just hope that my internet holds up and everything works out. So, you know, with the iRacing NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series going on, Benjamin up in Seattle, out of town. Hey, Ben, how you doing? Welcome to the show. But yeah, things are really starting to get going with the iRacing NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series, you know, and they got a little head start because the Heat 3 Esports series is still getting underway, and we have some action. It looks like Ryan Luza is the man of the year so far. So coming out of the gates, it's Ryan Luza who has now gone back-to-back wins, and he could be looking for 3 in a row. Which is quite an amazing thing when you consider the caliber of talent. For somebody to come out of the gates in this season and show dominance this early is really amazing. It's no surprise. Ryan Luza is a previous champion, one of the best oval iRacers in the world, and it's no surprise. But at the same time, everybody else better get to work behind the scenes. And I wonder how much of this is changing. Like, some of these guys have changed teams. You know, you don't win a NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series championship on your own. It is a team effort to get one driver to the top. And so I wonder if there's been any change in the support of some of the drivers. Some drivers maybe had 3 or 4 or 5 people working on setups and helping them, get to the top. And now maybe they don't have that same support. It could. Actually, the previous race was won by somebody else. Why did they said, could they make it? Oh! Hold on. I misread one thing. Thank you, John Hill, because I hate getting things wrong. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, John Hill. They're heading to Vegas. Let's get their stories straight. Let's get our head on straight for a Hump Day Wednesday. Ryan Luza won race number 2. They are heading to Vegas, where Ryan Luza has won 2 times previously. Can he make it a 3rd win in a row at Vegas going back seasons? That's how it is. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure we got that all clarified. But anyway, there is your winner in, well, wait, now it's saying Las Vegas. Oh, now I've confused myself. Jeez Louise. Anyway, Ryan Luza won at Las Vegas. That's the big thing. And the other big thing is the fact that this series has gotten a good head start over the NASCAR Heat series. In addition to that, if you're confused about who's in what car, we are finding various ways to find spotter guides. So if you go to the iRacing.com site, they actually have a spotter guide. And here's their guide V2 for Daytona. And you can see the image of all of the drivers in their liveries. I love this stuff because this is, yes, Dan, it's Ray Alfalo that came to mind when I was saying that, for sure. And I don't know which guys are going to maintain support from their teams versus the guys who will not have that same support. And now maybe they only have their new teammate to work with, because these are like 2-man teams. But anyway, here's the NASCAR spotter guide. What I love about this is how much this is one-to-one with what you see in the program guide when you go to a real-life NASCAR event. I mean, they really went out of their way to make this look legit. You'll find those also through the Facebook page for iRacing. So you click there and it takes you to this image, but it has the link to the spotter guides, and then here's the one that was for Las Vegas in case there's ever a paint job change of any kind. you'd be able to stay with it. But if you are going to follow the series, it might be a little bit easier depending on if the broadcasters, Zach Novak won race 1. Thank you, John. Thank you very much. So this will help you in order to know who you're viewing, who you're watching. And I like now that the draft is over and the season is underway, the other thing that is nice is we do see the independent drivers. So looking here in the number 1 car, that's Blake Reynolds, independent driver, not associated with any of those draft teams. He's not running with Clint Boyer Racing or Joe Gibbs Racing or Wood Brothers. He's an independent. Kane Cook, and that's the other thing. Are some of these independents still part of the teams that they used to be on? So do we have teams that are being labeled as independent because of the new way it's working in the Peak Antifreeze series, or are they, truly independents? Lot of little behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on that we may or may not know about. We're going to try to get Ray Alfala. I'm talking to him about getting Ray Alfala on a Friday edition of the Pit Stop. Maybe we can get something like that sooner than later. And here's some of the inside scoop of what's going on there at that Peak Antifreeze series on iRacing. But that's big news. Big news. Also big news, Dirt Rally. Obviously, it came out yesterday. Mini. So what are your guys' thoughts? Now that if you didn't get the deluxe edition and you waited till tomorrow, or yesterday, I should say, to get it, now that you've tried it, what are your thoughts? I'm seeing reviews all over the world, and everybody is praise the title Dirt Rally 2. From our community, I think it's been a little more mixed. I think it's a quality game, quality sim, that has some things that have left people wondering if it'll be resolved, if it will be cured or fixed. Things like force feedback issues, stuff like that. Stuff that we talked about on last Friday's show. Anyway, they do have a cool video here, and I haven't watched the entire thing, but it's a little test they did on how important is an experienced co-driver. And it's a whole video, and I think it's semi-cartoonish in that they're trying to make light of the situation, obviously. That's John Armstrong behind the wheel right there. But yeah, anyway, this is a little thing showing the benefits of having an experienced co-driver, and it's made for humor, so probably worth the watch. There's one other thing I want to talk about in Dirt Rally. Maybe I had it here. No, that's Forza. I had a John Armstrong something. Where is that video? How did I lose that? Well, we don't get that. Where did it go? Oh, I forget. Oh, well, sorry about that, you guys. So, anyway, Dirt Rally 2, your guys' thoughts. Is it in the ballpark of what you want? Is it, what we want? What can they do to make it better? RF, I missed what Dan had said. Excuse me. But I do like that about P-Cars too, when you go after a leaderboard, that you can check other people's setups and evaluate yours or tinker on theirs. I also like the way you can use their ghost laps and things like that to know what you're competing against. Yeah, Billy Strange says, praised by outlets that only have a surface level understanding what's going on. Yeah, in the last 3 weeks, I could have probably posted 50 different websites that were just general gaming sites, just, no clue about what sim racing is, and inevitably every single one of them praised the game. And I'm not trying to, I'm really not trying to take Dirt Rally down at all. I think it is what it is, and I've enjoyed it, and I've had fun playing it, and I think it's got great qualities about it. And I think we've also pointed out some flaws that as a hardcore sim racer that people are going to, want more from them. But no surprise that your ABC gaming company would just see and, you get it. Hey, it's fun. You know what? You jump in and it's fun. Cranky Pants still waiting on VR for it. Absolutely. I hear you there. Forza has a video out right now, so we know their Le Mans Esports series is going on. When you talk esport, it might be over a lot of our talent level, let's face it. But at the same time, when we can get a look at what these guys are doing, it's going to help us. I mean, the best way to gain speed is to watch somebody faster in the same sim, same car, same track, and see what they're doing differently. I mean, if you have a friend who's faster, you can do lead follow. It's the same thing. But if you can find some alien level racer publishing a hot lap in a various sim, you got to take note. So anyway, Shaun Arnold, who goes under the wording or the title, hashtag, gamer tag, thank you, JOTA_commando. Here's his 144.527 lap at Sebring for the Le Mans Esport. So you can check out that lap, and if you're a Forza head, you're going to want to know what's his driving line. So it looks like he's in some kind of an Audi GT type car, taking a nice tight early turn into one. This almost looks sped up. I think that's a result of the bumper cam. Actually, you know what? It's got to be sped up because it's telling me the lap, it's telling me the video is like shorter than the lap time practically. If I go to the very start, the time on it is, come on timer, come on. It's 1:45, so I guess that is, we'd start right at the line. It sure looks sped up, though. This guy's flying. This guy is flying. Anyway, if you want to know a good way around Le Mans, around Sebring for that particular event, it might even help those of you who are getting ready to race in the 12 hours of Le Mans iRacing. If you're struggling for a driving line, it definitely could help you just kind of watching what he's doing, seeing what he's doing. It should be pretty transferable information. Damage model is really good in 2.0. Yeah, I beat up a car pretty good. I think we killed one, didn't we? What else? We have Live for Speed still showing signs of growth. We're beyond signs of life. Now it's like recovery. You know, if they had died and then there were signs of life, now I think we can officially call it Live for Speed recovery, as they are really starting to work their way back onto the scene. So for Open VR, specifically Samsung Odyssey owners, here's a minor update fixing a view alignment issue. So they're addressing VR. You guys are talking about no VR, no buy for a game like Dirt Rally 2, a game that comes out in 2019 without VR support. We're talking about a game here, Live for Speed, that came out in 2009, 2007. I don't remember the original. Maybe somebody does remember the exact date Live for Speed came out. But we're talking about a decade-old title that is supporting VR better than Cody's is with a brand new 2019 title. So that is quite amazing. A little cookie for Max from Doug Hawley. Thank you, Doug. You know, I'm watching two versions of chat, and it's really weird how they are not one-to-one. I almost need to stop watching the Restream chat and only watching the YouTube chat because it's amazing how much they differ. Anyway, what else? What else? Live for Speed. That's not it, though. There was another update that was kind of quiet, and this was the February progress report, and a few more things that they're doing. Some lighting changes, and you can set the time of day, and the sun direction is calculated from that info, along with the latitude of the track. So bringing some of that real-life conditions to the game. You can click here to see a 6-second animated GIF of a 24-hour period in the summer at Aston. So here we go. That is the 24-hour cycle in Live for Speed that they're very proud of and part of some of the February update that is going on. So good for them. You know, I wonder what they're going to do. I think back, like, if Live for Speed were to come back into the scene, would Live for Speed go after licensing, or is that going to just be something that they don't do? I don't know if you guys remember, but we were supposed to see a VW. Wasn't a VW? It was like a Golf that we were supposed to see. You know, tell me that's not a Mazda RX-7 right there at the front of this picture. Tell me that's not a Honda Civic right behind it. And that's the thing that has always been, you know, we talked about the Race Sim Studios for Ferrucci, which was blatantly a Ferrari 575. And that's kind of one of the things, one of the workarounds that LFS has always been known for. So if we look at their cars, like here's the FXO GTR, you know, and it has a certain resemblance to a lot of cars that we've known. That sure looks part Mustang. And a lot of time what I notice is the hybrid. Tell me that isn't an attempt to be a 911 without paying for licensing. But moving to the future, you know, we talk about cars, we talk about content all the time. We talk about DLC. In 2019, can Live for Speed live without licensed content? Can they live with a majority? I mean, here they do have the BMW Sauber. This is licensed content. That is the real deal BMW, sure. But the same thing goes on tracks. It's like, it's always been a combination of fake and real. Fake, fantasy, and real. So, you know, Kyoto Ring, isn't that a real track? I think so. Rockingham is a real track. Blackwood is not. And so I really do wonder. Ahmet, cool. To be totally fair, I would be an idiot if I answered that straight out. I can't give you a clear-cut rating right now. And the reason why, I only have a matter of hours in the sim. And I just don't believe, at least my skill level, maybe other reviewers out there have some ability to take in every nuance and understand every moment of the sim inside of 30 seconds. But for me, I believe there's a clear placebo effect when it comes to new titles, especially if you're enjoying them. I think the handling is good, and I'm going to give you that. I'll give you a good right now. We can put it in a ballpark, but I couldn't give you a definitive number without putting extensive testing and comparison to other sims. Just to be fair, that's my philosophy on reviewing. And it's also why in 2019, not to take too many diversions, I am not a quick reviewer. I have never wanted to be a quick reviewer, and now they make it so they give you the copy and they give you like 24 hours. And I think that's partly to try to prevent people from being able to say much about it. And if I'm going to give you numbers, I'm going to give you stats, they're going to be very accurate, and I'm going to want to stand behind them. I'm not going to want to second guess those stats. So, yes, I am a slow reviewer for good reason. And when it comes to Dirt Rally 2, it'll take some time before I really get a chance. Here's the other video. It was Dirt Rally 2.0 related, but it wasn't at their site. This is actually at the Thrustmaster site. Today is the day. And what they have here is some settings from John Armstrong on what to do with the Thrustmaster. They say the TSXW racer specifically, but it should work for pretty much all of the big bases and probably be pretty good for even the T300 size wheels. So this is his recommended. So this is John Armstrong, real-life rallyer, part of the development team for Dirt Rally 2, giving you his personal Thrustmaster settings. Devin Booth gave you his personal settings. Not sure if any of you got a chance to try them out and if it helped or hurt, because again, force feedback has been one of those areas of question, I suppose, when it comes to Dirt Rally 2.0. Yeah, Azar, see, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's really easy to get something, and, you know, if they have like a natural feel in the wheel, it's going to be very easy to jump in and be like, oh, this feels great. But then when you start looking at other small, finer details, that maybe it starts to show some of its weaknesses that would take you down a notch. And I'm not saying it's bad, but I think it's really important that we make a, yeah, Devin would be better to 7+. That would have been my guess, would be in the 7+ range, Devin. That's not a surprise, but again, I'm afraid that I haven't put enough time in to definitively say this is how I feel about it, and it would just be unfair. But and that's why I also think it's kind of funny, we talked about at the beginning of the show how so many publications came out already with just nothing but praise for the title. And it's like, well, they're doing it after 1 hour of driving and absolutely limited sim racing experience, which is, you know, not that. You're steering people the wrong way. Why don't you just talk about its features and talk about what you see more than getting into the reading between the lines stuff? So anyway, I see these pictures, and this is McLaren Shadow. This is none other than Enzo Benito. And so he's in Barcelona, and he's showcasing his talents on the HTC Vive Pro McLaren Edition VR kit. But tell me this doesn't look like the boy in the bubble. It looks like they just have him sitting here almost like he's a display. And people are walking by watching Enzo drive, and he's sitting there in VR showing off his skills. And this is all part of the McLaren promotion and the direct affiliation. I mean, I've talked about this before, but, you know, McLaren, more so than a lot of the other teams in eSport, they're all in. McLaren is taking it very seriously and sticking to it with or without an esport competition going on. taking guys like Enzo to Barcelona, taking guys like Rudy Van Buren to Goodwood. They are showing off their esport guys and doing it in public, using it as a marketing tool. And I'm going to come back to that topic in just 1 second. So let's keep moving along here. Wicked Cushion Esport. This is a esport team affiliated with Casey Kane Racing. They are forming at the very least, a dirt sprint car on iRacing team, and they are going to go on against some of the other teams that are already out there. I understand Craig Kinzer Racing, Dave Blaney Racing. There are other teams that are doing this. So with or without the official draft, like we saw in the case of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, we do have a pro esport division in the dirt discipline on iRacing. And if that's something, Billy, now if you're looking for a team, if that's something that you want to go, well, right now all you have to do is send in your resume, essentially. So we would like interested drivers to submit their racing profiles and applications to Wicked Cushion Esports. Your applications will be held in strict confidence, and we look to choose members for these teams over the next 2 weeks. So we're about 2 weeks out from this happening. But they want your name, your hometown, your phone number, your age, what sprint car leagues you participate in now, listing of your successes, special skills like graphics, writing, other things, maybe tuning even. What are your goals and what do you do outside of iRacing? Short personal profile. But that's how this one's going down. They are basically asking for resumes, and we'll pick a few drivers for that esport team. And I'm going to assume that Outlaw is going to see Outlaw Sprint Car Series, World of Outlaws maybe, are going to see the benefits that Formula One's getting from the F1 2018 attention. What is Blanc Pain going to be getting from the Assetto Corsa Series esport competition that we can predict to happen? How much exposure is NASCAR getting from the Peak Antifreeze and the Heat 3 Series? So anyway, don't sell short the dirt. And speaking, in this case, we do want to sell short the dirt. I don't often tell you guys about deals, but when there's a deal worth getting, if I were going to give you my recommendation for 2018, 2019 of a game that you will love no matter what, we don't have to sit here and bicker about physics and handling or anything. I'm just going to tell you, if you sim race, you will love Wreckfest. It is just awesome fun. It is now on sale for $22.49. I think this is the only time I've ever heard of Wreckfest being on sale. That is 50% off until March 1st, so you only have a few days to take advantage of it. We race Wreckfest as a group, the pit crew, the patron group. We race Wreckfest weekly. I mean, maybe every other week if you really average it out. Like, I don't think I can race this weekend, but the guys very well might race without me. And often if we're streaming, we give out the password publicly so that you could join even if you're not part of that group. But if you have not bought it yet, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting Wreckfest for $22.49. I don't foresee it getting cheaper than that. If you guys don't know, now I don't know if this is the race team or just the same name. Winding Road is one of the pro Mazda MX-5, global MX-5 racing teams. This is windingroad.com for racers, so I'm not sure if there's any parallel between the team. I think it's one and the same. I think this is just sort of their magazine version, and then they have a race team as well. But that's not the real point. The real point is just another article. Virtual plus reality. Professional race teams use simulator trading. How about you? One fault I can give myself is I could have, it was hard because there's a laser scan version of Button Willow out there. I know of it. I just didn't get it here in time to be able to turn laps before going to the race that I did this last weekend. And I gotta tell you, I really should have. I should have dropped everything and should have been focusing on that. It's just, you know, we're always mixing our work lives, our professional lives, our family lives, and our sim racing lives. And it just doesn't always go as planned. But here's an article, and it's questioning, are you? If you do real-life racing, how are you using Sims? I learned something this weekend, and maybe we'll talk about this more on Friday. I learned something at that race this weekend about sim racing and what it does for me. And it was things that never occurred to me. And, you know, obviously we learn track layout. Obviously we get some motor memory skill for catching cars and that kind of stuff, and good pedal work and all that kind of stuff, being smooth. But I learned things that go way beyond that. And anyway, if you're a real-life racer, I know a lot of you guys get out there. Maybe it's just track days. Are you using sim racing to make that better bang for the buck time in the real life? All right, so we talked about McLaren Shadow, and we talked about McLaren and how serious they are on eSport. So here's an article here at McLaren saying Fernando Alonso to become McLaren Racing Ambassador. And he sees himself with McLaren for a long time to come. But then I wonder, don't we foresee, I mean, if eSport really exploded, okay, so the real story on the Button Willow laser scan, and I got to get to the bottom of this, so a little of this is hearsay, but I do have some inside information. CXE Simulations, Chris Considine and Brian from CXE and their buddy Steve, they run the Chotus, the Yellow Lotus Chotus, at Lucky Dog, Lemons, Chump Car. They run Button Willow more than any other track. So Chris hired someone to laser scan Button Willow, and then hired another company to build up the track, and it was his personal track, not for public use. And I'm not going to say where it is, but I did see a leaked version, and I do have the link because I sent it to Chris because he wasn't thrilled about it. But there is a version. If you hunt, you might be able to find it. There's a modding group out there. I'm not going to name any names, but if anybody wanted to experience Button Willow in Assetto Corsa, it can be done. I will be doing it, but I'll be doing it the legit way, getting it from Chris. But, hey, I gotta tell you what's out there. So anyway, if esports explodes, and if Logitech G2, their esport team becomes huge, that's FA Racing, Fernando Alonso Racing. What if McLaren becomes huge? You know, we're on the brink of esport becoming as big as real-life motorsport outside of maybe Formula 1 and IndyCar and NASCAR. But on the next tier down, sim racing could be paying more money than low-level racing or even medium-level racing in our world. Is that ever going to put Fernando Alonso in a conflict of interest where it's going to be Logitech or McLaren? And if right now, I mean, the Logitech is FA Racing. FA stands for Fernando Alonso. Do you turn your back on your own branding? Or anyway, not sure that'll ever come into play, but we can see a long career for Fernando Alonso working with McLaren. And I'm sure sim racing and esport has a lot to do with that, to be honest with you. Excuse me. So, speaking of Wreckfest, if you don't know, Wreckfest was built by Bugbear. Bugbear was acquired by THQ Nordic. THQ Nordic granted an interview to a internet publication called 8chan. Don't know 8chan. 8chan is like one of these blacklisted publications out there in the world of the world of E. And Google once delisted it. They've been suspected of child abuse content. So they're and this is just the article that I'm reading. I'm not making these statements myself. I'm just reading you the news. PC Gamer has this article saying that THQ Nordic apologizes for granting an interview to the toilet of the internet, 8chan. So they mistakenly said, sure, we'll do an interview, trying to get press for whatever. And we ran regular direction. Button Willow is still one of the side conversations here with Billy. Yes, it is a really fun track. For a track in the middle of nowhere with no lights, very, very little trees or anything on the side of the track, the layout, the ribbon as I like to call it, is a really fun drive. There's a spot, Phil Hill, where you are just, you've been on full throttle for a very long time, and you come into this uphill right-hand turn, and it's just a little hint of a brake scrub, and then you launch over the hill, you get the car light, and it's a leap of faith. You have to have that line right, or you will be off the track coming off of Phil Hill, because it's a up and over right-hand turn that is so much fun. It's a very, very fun track. I highly recommend searching for the mod and doing it. But But anyway, 8chan stores, their stories is the difference, as I understand. I don't know. But anyway, they, you know, and we're all guilty of this. Someone could send me an email one day and being like, hey, I have this blah, blah, blah podcast. You know, would you be interested in sitting in? And if I didn't do a little research, I could find myself saying, sure, the more the merrier, getting out there to find out that I've put my name somewhere where I really wouldn't want it to be. So THQ Nordic is apologizing for even taking part in that. In addition to that, THQ Nordic announces, this is going to be kind of exciting. I got a smile on my face. I have to admit, I got a big smile on my face when I saw this. THQ Nordic announces Monster Jam Steel Titans. And I tell you what, if this game comes out and I play it, you'll probably see a big ear-to-ear grin on my face while doing so, but don't even ask me about its handling physics. I hope that's not a concern. We're talking Monster Jam Steel Titans, but one of my favorite all-time games, I have to admit, was Monster Truck Madness. It was one of my original Wreckfests, but this is now in the works and something that we'll be able to play in the not-too-distant future. I think that's pretty cool, and I think THQ is the perfect company to take on that kind of title because they really are good at the that type of game. There's going to be a collector's edition that's going to include a limited edition exclusive gold Gravedigger. Ugh, why would I want a gold Gravedigger? At 1/24 scale, I guess that's the only way to make it seem like a special edition. Collector edition will be $79.99 in the US. The standard edition is priced at $39.99, and it's due out. Well, pre-order now. Woo! Pre-order! And you can get it June 25th. I am not going to pre-order. As excited as I am for this version, but well, for Race 07, there's an official Volvo 240 in the game. Menace, that is the combo that I need to hunt down. Simtrax. Yes, Simtrax. I saw it for €3 on there. Since somebody else gave the name, I didn't. I saw it for €3 at that site. So they're literally charging for the track, which could be a problem. We'll get more on that story soon. Is there piracy going on in sim racing? No way, that's impossible. Is a desperate gold digger. Gold grave digger. Ain't nothing but a gold grave digger. I told you she was a gold grave digger. Oh, sorry. Because I'm a broke ass. Speed Maniacs, talking about Wreckfest also. Huge performance increase in the PC version and the great weight. They're talking about a big update to the game coming along. And they've been working in the background on cross-platform and things like this. There has been, to an extent, a slight slowdown, but Speed Maniacs talking about the huge performance increases that we're going to be seeing for Wreckfest. So again, if you can get a good deal, they're not even done with this title. Yeah, it took them 5 years to get to full release, and this is just showing up. Absolutely. Wouldn't you know it? But I think that's the kind of thing that happens when you switch from being a small developer bugbear and then having a little bit of financial investment into your company through the name of THQ Nordic. You know, in this case, that buyout could be just what it needed. In other cases, it could be the death of the intention of the game or sim. Yeah, Dennis Anderson will always be your gravedigger. I was watching videos of the original Bigfoot. You know, so you think back to the time of the movie Take This Job and Shove It, which I think that movie, if it were not for the movie Take This Job and Shove It, would monster trucks exist today? Because for those who don't know, you know, before there were monster trucks, there was that movie, and that was the for many people, that was the debut of Bigfoot, and Bigfoot was the only monster truck because they are kind of the inventor in terms of the publicly aware. I'm sure there have been many monster trucks before it. Publicly aware Bigfoot was the first, and it was that movie. And I just think, man, that movie caused an explosion of awareness of this badass truck that could jump over cars and crush cars. Anyway, it makes me laugh because I see trucks at least as big as Bigfoot, the original one, driving around town. It's like a normal lifted truck nowadays is almost the size of Bigfoot, and and true monster trucks have gone obscene. Because the original Bigfoot, I don't think that was even on real tractor tires, if I'm not mistaken. Versus now they're on like the big tractor tires. All right. Tonight, I have a very cool race. Last week I was going to do the race and my internet cut out. That was the day that I just lost my mind and called my internet cable company and said, this isn't just intermittent, this is ridiculous. So anyway, tonight is the Lionheart IndyCar All-Star event. This is in the IR18. This is the series that I'm going to be running, but this is sort of the way we kick off the season at Lionheart. It'll be aired live on GSRC. I will be streaming it live from my end as well, and that's at 9:35 CT, which I'll have to convert that into Pacific time. I'm so far behind on things. I got a lot of work to do today. Get ready. Be 99 laps in that race, and it should be pretty fun. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. Can't wait to get back to doing some IndyCar racing, some open-wheeled racing. That's going to be fun. That'll be going on tonight, and I hope you'll all tune in, whether it be with me or GSRC. Either way, get out there and support Lionheart and watch that great series, and I will definitely be there tonight. And crisscross the fingers that the internet is all restored. So, here's an article at simracers.es about reports and protests. And they go on to talk about different things and all the different ways that iRacing specifically is policing behavior on track. And the protest system is a really good one, because the protest system means that a driver took offense to something that was done, took a video, wrote a story, and sent it in to be judged by a human being. Versus, and this is another conversation that we can have, the whole incident thing at iRacing. You know, if two cars make contact, both cars get the penalty. Doesn't matter who was at fault. And I think, man, in some cases that really sucks, especially if you're a really clean driver, almost never makes contact, that somebody else could give you a 4X just like that. But it does a decent job of keeping everybody on their best behavior. But this weekend, again, I keep coming back to this lucky dog and what I learned doing a real-life 24-hour race. If two cars have contact, both cars are called in for a 5-minute penalty. However, if one of those drivers came into the pits and fell on the sword and said, hey, man, I know we're both here, but that was all me. That guy had nothing to do with it. He didn't even know I just hit him out of nowhere. Don't penalize him. They will let the other car go. So here's my idea for iRacing, and I think the honor system would go a long way. I know I'd do it. What if you could have a button mapped, and when you got a 4X for contact, if you, within 30 seconds or 1 minute, press the button to say, I take blame, that it would remove the 4X from the other guy? Wouldn't that be cool? How many, would you honor it? Would you honor it? If you got a 4X and you knew it was your fault, would you press the button? I pressed the button to say sorry. Would you press one more button to remove the 4X from that other driver? I think that would be kind of cool. Now, not everybody would honor it. You'd still need protest violations and things like that. But I think it'd be kind of cool. I think a lot of sim racers are really good people, and I think a lot of sim racers would really hate to, if they could remove the 4X, they would. But anyway, that's how they handle it at Lucky Dog. And if nobody says a word, both cars remain penalized. Anyway, I thought that was kind of cool, and I appreciate their article bringing attention to the whole safety rating and really the only sim that does much to prevent you from really just being a jerk driver. I mean, anyone can take everybody out. I mean, if I were to have a decent car and I could get to the tail, I could Wreckfest everybody out of the race. And if you're really good at it, you could win on that way, but that's no way to win. Yeah, it would be better than giving the spot back. Sure, there are a bunch of great things. I think it would really work. I like the idea. It just came to me when I read this article, and I was just thinking about it. I'm like, wow, at Lucky Dog they did that. I'm like, man, they could totally do that in iRacing, and it would be awesome. And anyway, yeah, my great idea of the day. Write that down. So F1 2018, we often talk, how long will a company support their sim racing title? How long will they continue to do updates, DLC, whatever it is to support a title? When we talk about the Madden type titles, as I call them, the ones that you can count on every single year, best example in sim racing is the Formula 1 series, F1 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and soon to be 19. Anyway, apparently that last patch, 1.16, surprised the world, because apparently original intentions were that 1.15, which was released in December, was going to be the final patch to the sim. So when you think about that title, you think about its age and how long. Maybe you even have to think about how many things still need to be resolved. I mean, I think it's a pretty tight title at this point. But 2019 obviously is in development, and they definitely need to think about, you need to think about that when you're buying a Formula 1 title. But 1.16 was a surprise patch that came out in December, so that's kind of good. Yeah, I've been pretty, Billy talks about a few people mention giving spots back. If I do something bad, I'm not worried about the 4X as much as what I've done to the other driver. So, I do that. I pull over and let the guy have his spots back. And sometimes it means giving more than just that spot, because maybe 2 or 3 other cars got by as well. So, definitely. At Peterborough Speedway, if you move a guy, you got black flagged. It's so tough. I understand. I guess I do and I don't. When I watch like NASCAR peak antifreeze, I see guys do some really crazy stuff for the win. But in modern racing at its peak level, with contracts and just millions of dollars at stake, it shouldn't change anything, but it does. You want to say that money, but there's no denying for a NASCAR level championship or NASCAR level contract or even race winnings, it's so much money that I feel you're going to see people do crazy stuff. And I don't know if the rule system should be the same when you're talking that level versus, like, I'm going to go out to Irwindale. Their season's starting up in early March. And I'm going to I'm working on getting some media passes so I can go in the paddock and see if there are any sim racers there. And at that level, I think you have to have a different attitude. Because, half the people out there, it's taken them their kids might be starving on Monday because they spent so much to get to the track for the weekend on Friday night. Their kids might not go to college. Their mortgage might be missed this month. I think there are a lot of racers. It's in our blood. We have to do it. We will bankrupt ourselves in order to continue racing. And in that scenario, it's really a shame when somebody else just kind of does something and it could cost you enough money that you're going to miss a handful of races. And that's a harsh reality, very much part of racing. But anyway, let's have that button. Bump. Yeah, and that's the other thing. At what point does it become, and we all know this. Like when I do a 24-hour race, I am blown away by how intense people run in the first 30 minutes. And I'm thinking, you have 23 and a half hours to go. Why are you? And yet, if you fast forward time to like 2-3 hours into the race, funny how much everybody's mellowed out for the most part. And then at the end, of course, the gloves come off. What are we going to do about it? Speed Maniacs talking about some of the details in the Dirt Rally 2.0 Day 1 patch. This is V1.1, alleviates its first teething problems. So I haven't specifically gone through the entire list, but we do have a changelog, all the things that have been updated. We knew there was going to be a big, huge patch, and that was another reason that I was a little hesitant to get that deep into opinion on Dirt Rally 2, because I got it before even the pre-release with a big disclaimer saying there's a giant patch coming, so be aware. I have not driven it since the official patch. I have not driven it since the release. So today, tomorrow, maybe. But I have a race tonight, and I have a big race this weekend, 12-hour Sebring race. So it's going to be very hard for me to allocate time, I hate to say. But we'll see. We'll see what we can get done. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. Sorry about that. That was horrible. Thingiverse. Look at that. That's like a 3D printed wheel for the G27. If I'm not mistaken, isn't Thingiverse the place where you can download the drawings? I believe Thingiverse is where you can download the drawings to 3D print your stuff you want. So, like if I were to type in phone holder, these are all the 3D printed type phone holders that you can get. Little cool designs. If you have a 3D printer, you get the drawing, you fire up your printer, and you do it, and bam. But yes, this is a 3D printed steering wheel. Oh, come on, go back. There we go. A 3D printed steering wheel for the G27. So anyway, if you have a 3D printer, if you're a Logitech driver, you just might want to check this out and see if it's something you're interested in. That could be very, very cool. That could be very cool. And it's nice to see that somebody took a cool design and put it up there for the whole world to use and see. I love it. I love it. All right, inspiration time. Here's the guy's P1 chassis in black, looking pretty nice. Looks like he's getting it set up with some Fanatic gear. Anyway, just that's a rig option out there if you're looking for one. I like the way he put it on a little platform. That looks nice. I always like looking at different rigs and different setups that people use. Look at this. How to fix a rig in place. You know, anybody who's used a rolling chair and a desktop knows how difficult it can be to get a rolling chair to stay put for sim racing. Anyway, you can see this guy has used every trick in the book. He's got his wheel stand, but he needed it to stop. It was too far in if he used the wall, so he's got his skateboard holding it off the wall. And then on the backside, to keep his chair from rolling backward, he squeezed another chair between what looks like his bed and the chair he races in. So well done by him. I see him using Discord up on his main single computer there. Only other recommendation, this is a great setup for somebody who just got to make it work, but pull that monitor closer. Vinipelli, if you are watching, pull that monitor closer. You're going to love it for sim racing. So what else? What else do we have? Another rig, I think. Just another good-looking rig. This is a GT, which one is that? That's the GT, oh, it's a Next Level Racing GT Ultimate, sorry. And he's got some Fanatic gear on this one. I'm seeing more and more Fanatic gear everywhere nowadays. Great Nord logo for printing. Oh, they have a good Nord logo. Yeah, I need to get me a 3D printer. I could have a lot of fun. I've looked through Thingiverse for other things when I was like working out of CXC and had access to a 3D printer. And that takes us to the end of the rigs. Now I want to do a little promotion and congratulations. So Shaun Seabrand, I want to thank Shaun Seabrand. Not sure if you're here right now. Pro Sim Shaun Seabrand, but he has carried the torch for our SRS Assetto Corsa series for a few seasons. You know, we've done this for almost a year now, I think, but I had to bow out a few seasons ago because it was just taking too much of my time away from reviewing and doing other things. I mean, right now I'm still trying to find that balance between being a driver, being a sim racer, and being a reviewer of the quality and depth that I like to be. But anyway, I want to congratulate last season. This was one of the better seasons. It was sort of like the GT3 season that got everybody back involved in the SRS Simpit series on Assetto Corsa. But it was a pick your poison. They could pick any of the GT3 cars. Austin Oganowski, though, went on to win the championship in that, and Ethan Dean finished in second, and Fernando Silva finished in third. And if you guys know your way around SRS and Assetto Corsa, those are three screaming fast drivers. So no surprise to see them at the top of the leaderboard, and congratulations and well done by them. And that really takes us to next season. So next season, the Simpit SRS LMP1 series. And once again, I'm going to thank Pro Sim Racing and Shaun Seabrand for carrying the torch and going on. But this is the Toyota T Hybrid, which is a bitchin' looking car, I must say. And Shaun went ahead and did a little promo video. We got some footage of the cars going around the track, so you get a good look at them. And Shaun giving you all of the details about the series and what's going on. And right now we have the season schedule, so things kick off this coming week, really. But yeah, Sebring, Paul Ricard, Blancpain, Monza, Barcelona, Moto, Road America, Circuit Le Mans 24 Hours will be the schedule. So that should be a lot of fun. And if you're looking for some quality racing in Assetto Corsa, you can do no better than Sim Racing Systems, and definitely look for that Simpit LMP1 series if you want to join. And anyway, that is going to do it for today's news. Like I said, tonight I will be doing that Lionheart race at 9:35 CT, and that will be a lot of fun. I'll be streaming. It'll be on GSRC. On Saturday, we'll be streaming all 12 hours of the Simpit Endurance Team, Simpit Ricmotech Endurance Team, as we take on Sebring in the Ferrari GTE car, which is going to be fun as well. So a lot of good racing going on this week. I am in the final stages, finally, of that GT track review by Next Level Racing. Really nice rig. I can tell you that much about it. It's a really nice rig, and it's going to be a great review. Should have that coming out pretty soon, but unfortunately, between those three things, that's about all I'm going to be able to get done this week. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be any Dirt Rally, which means when I come back, I'm going to need you guys to fill me in. Let me know, how is Dirt Rally 2.0 really doing? Other than that, I'll be back Friday with none other than Billy Strange of Billy Strange Racing and Brandon Waters for the Friday edition of the Pit Stop, which we still don't have a name for. We got to change the name. We can't call it Pit Stop. It's got to be something, and it can't be Sim Tunnel because that's already been there, done that. So we got to get a name and finish that off, and now that show is really moving along. But we'll be back Friday, and we'll have some great conversation about sim racing, but that's going to do it for this one. This is the Simpit. I'm Shaun Cole, and I'll see you on the track.